Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is the sequel you never wanted to happen. Yes, you get dinosaurs, and you get some returning characters from previous films interacting with said dinosaurs, but the real meat of this film is all about humans messing around with the food chain. I don't know if this is even a review anymore since this movie is so frustratingly simple in its design, but too dumb to comprehend. The beginning of the film tells us about a small group of guys who have come back to Isla Nublar to extract the bone from Indominus Rex, which remains at the bottom of the lagoon. They're successful in getting the bone, but they lost a few guys along the way. This is a great opening sequence. You've got two big and beloved dinosaurs, T-Rex and Mosasaurus, attacking and eating those guys, and it sets up that someone wanted that Indominus Rex bone for something. Then we move on to the next scene, when Dr. Malcolm is in a Senate hearing about the volcano on Nublar that is about to erupt, and whether the US government should get involved. Dr. Malcolm ultimately in the end tells them that dinosaurs cannot stay here and must die to fix the wrongs that John Hammond made by building the original park. A few things. The return of Jeff Goldblum's character was teased all over this movie's marketing. Like, wow, come check out our new movie. We've got dinosaurs and dinosaur actors. But the character's only in 2 scenes. I wonder how much it costs to get him to do this. The next thing is, why is the US government in this fictional movie so on point? Nublar is not a territory of the US government. The island is privately owned. Also, the government isn't looking at dinosaurs as assets, and I can tell you right now that the bad guys are. They're seeing dollar signs in military contracts. What I'm getting at is that the government would totally want to help protect these creatures. Then we meet Claire, who is now the head of an organization dedicated to protecting the dinosaurs. She has a whole team behind her, including Zia Rodriguez, who specializes in medical studies tailored specifically for dinosaur health, and the scared wimpy tech nerd Franklin Webb, who is played by Justice Smith, the guy who's in great movies that never get sequels. The team is shocked by the news that the government will not act on saving the dinos. But then conveniently, Claire gets a phone call requesting she go to the Lockwood estate to meet with Benjamin Lockwood himself. Benjamin Lockwood lives in a large house that reminds me of every mansion in Resident Evil, and the fact that there are large rooms decorated like a museum, while underneath the whole thing is a secret laboratory. Now, what's up with this old man bound to his wheelchair? Benjamin Lockwood was a partner of John Hammond, but their passion for creating dinosaurs came to a fork in the road. That fork is something that many people have issues with, human cloning. This makes sense that the two would eventually come to genetic cloning while working with dino DNA, but again, there's a great stigma about it, and currently in our real world, it is illegal. Lockwood tells Claire that he wanted her and her organization, with the help of his assistant Eli Mills, that they would work together to save the dinos on Nublar and re-release them on a new island where they would never bother humans. The one thing that Lockwood really wants is Blue, the velociraptor who's said to be the last of her kind, but she's too clever for a normal person to track, so he requests the help of Owen Grady. Now, I mentioned Eli Mills. Yes, he's Lockwood's assistant, and weirdly enough, he lives in the house with him. Mills is clearly the villain. We just don't understand what he's up to. Living in that house is also Macy Lockwood, Benjamin's granddaughter, who roams around the estate because she's just a kid. She often finds herself in bad spots, and one time, when Eli spots her, he reprimands her and sends her to her room. This individual isn't her parental guardian, so I have some issues with that. After the meeting, Claire wanders off to find Owen, who's in the middle of nowhere building his own house. Owen and Claire talk about why their relationship failed a second time, but what's sad is that Owen doesn't want to help find Blue. He seems cold and distant. I had to look back at the first film, and I realized that when Owen's raptors were killed in front of him, he never emotionally responded. Now, you could make the argument that he's kinda in the middle of a battle with that genetic freak Indominus. Claire tries to appeal to his parental instincts, which Owen brushes off until later that night when he's rewatching footage of him raising the raptors. On the plane, we have Claire, Owen, Franklin, and Zia, who land in Nublar to find a camp of armed men. These are mercenaries hired by Eli to help capture the dinosaurs and get them aboard a boat. The volcano is about to erupt, and they have to move fast. Our team's big focus is tracking down Blue. Franklin's tech helps Owen find her deep in the jungle. She's a little hesitant at first, and Owen seems scared, and then she remembers him, coming close for the embrace when she is suddenly shot by a trank. Then mercenaries armed with rifles come out of the bushes. Owen is pissed that they attacked too soon, but the part I enjoyed was Blue. her reaction, that Blue hates guns. They make her very uneasy. We saw a little bit of this in the first film, but it's better demonstrated in the TV series Camp Cretaceous, when the main character Darius, with a rifle in hand, finds Blue in distress, and she won't let him help until he puts it away. Darius is a very intelligent character. These mercs are just cannon fodder. In retaliation, Blue targets one of the men and lunges head first. The dying soldier panics and shoots his pistol. Blue is in critical condition. There weren't supposed to be any live rounds. The guys hired to help save the dinosaurs are actually bad guys? What? Owen is shot in the chest with a trank and left behind, and Zia is taken hostage because she needs to help Blue. Claire and Franklin have their own troubles when the volcano erupts. Then there's this strange moment to place a comedic scene. As the lava flows, Owen wakes up to find himself still stiff and rolls his body out of the lava's reach. For some reason, I never pictured Owen doing something like this, but Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec, that guy would behave like this. As the volcano tears apart the island, the mercenaries get to the boat, while our heroes make a mad dash off the island, being followed by a stampede of scared dinos. Claire and Franklin get off the island by rolling a gyrosphere off the cliff, and Owen dives after them. There's an underwater struggle, but they make it out. Nope, we cut back to them back on land. They jump in a jeep and they drive that jeep off the dock, landing it on the drop gate of the Merc's boat. I don't know why the gate is open. I think it would be a safety issue, but our good guys are able to sneak right in. Like, how are the bad guys too busy to notice a whole vehicle had made a crash landing on your boat? Also, if you pay attention, our heroes have basically jumped off this island twice in a row. I feel like one time's enough. And then we get the saddest scene in the whole franchise. As we sail away, everyone stops and watches this long neck reach the end of the dock before the fire and ashes smother it up in smoke. F you. I'm taking away a star for that. Everybody hates this scene. Nobody likes this movie, and I'm upset. You shot Blue, you captured only a few dinosaurs, you left the others for dead, and then you made me painfully watch one die. This is only the first half of the movie, and if this was the whole movie, I would have been okay with that because the second half is just dog water. Back at the Lockwood estate, as our avatar, we learn from Maisie sneaking around that Eli is working with Dr. Henry Wu, the scientist who creates dinosaurs, including the last creation, Indominus. Dr. Wu isn't over that concept, and with the Indominus bone from the beginning, and now with Blue in their possession, the plan is to create another monster. The reason for Eli being the bad guy seems to be a victim of bad writing, since his only motivation is money. He wants to auction off the dinos to the black market, though Eli has never shown any monetary need. He's well dressed and groomed, he lives in a mansion. Think to yourself, does that seem like the natural next thing to do is sell dinosaurs on the black market? I can't make that logical jump in my mind. Maisie, finding out this, tells her grandfather, Benjamin, about Eli's betrayal, so Ben confronts Eli on the matter. And Eli makes another fantastic decision. He kills Lockwood. So this moron who had everything, and was probably going to inherit Lockwood's company because Ben was clearly on his way out, has now decided that the best thing to do is kill his boss. Eli is the thing I want to understand the most about this film, but I can't because the character makes idiotic decisions like modern day politicians do. The saddest part was that Maisie was in the room still hiding from Eli before he killed Ben. Eli lets it slip that Maisie is a clone of Ben's deceased daughter. For some reason, this franchise jumped the shark and will only lightly address it in the future. So what we've learned is that when human characters are involved in monster movies, they drag the story down. There's only one last thing I wanted to talk about, and it's the monster, Indoraptor. I had to do research outside of this film to learn more about her, which is super negative in my book. The Indoraptor that appears in the film was designed and created by Dr. Wu, who wanted to capitalize on the failure of Indominus. This Indoraptor was made for military application. She is created from Indominus and Velociraptor, but not Blue. They specifically needed Blue to help work out the designs because Blue is smart and has compassion, while Indo has none of that. Also, in hopes of having Blue, she would become the new mother to a new generation of Indoraptors that could actually learn and be domesticated. The Indo we got was similar in design to Blue, with metallic gold stripes running down her sides, and she's clearly just a larger raptor, but has a unique ability to walk on her forelegs. It's cool, but it scares me a little. Though she is part Indominus, she doesn't really have any of those cool skills and traits the prior one had, like camouflage. What she did retain was the sick nature of kill for pleasure. Blue is healed in the nick of time when Indoraptor breaks free inside the estate. The two take the fight to the roof when they fall through a glass ceiling. Blue of course survives, while Indo falls on a Ceratops fossil, impaling herself, leading to her death. Eli and his goons are killed, and the dinosaurs are released into the wild on the mainland. Also, Macy, Owen, and Claire form a family together, so we get that cheesy Hollywood ending. But the kicker is that there is one more Senate hearing with Dr. Malcolm, who now has suddenly changed his opinion about dinosaurs, stating, "We now have to learn to coexist with them." I never liked Dr. Malcolm, and I never said he was smart. So how did this film perform back in its heyday? Well, it's currently the second most expensive film ever made in Hollywood, costing around $465 million. But at the box office, it grossed over $1 billion. It did great overseas, probably due to how incomplete the story is. The critics hated it just like me, but the one thing I can't shake is how the first group of people who saw this movie didn't tell the next group of people don't. Of course, they made a follow-up sequel, but that's a different project. I give Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a 1 out of 5 stars. It's not worthy of 3, and because you made us watch that awful scene of the long neck dying, you don't get 2. My disappointment about this film is that Owen has taken a side role when he was the star in the first film. Eli Mills, the villain, has no reason to behave irrationally. Macy is a living, breathing human clone. Indo shows up briefly only to die. This is her one and only time in the franchise. And the CGI is not as good. It looks terrible. For something that costs so much money, you couldn't get better graphics? That's the whole point. Whatever. I thought Jurassic Park 3 was bad until I saw this. So I ask you, what did you like or hate the most about this film? Thanks for going through this long journey with me. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel and like the video. I, of course, want to try this again with Jurassic World Dominion, and at the time of making this, I still haven't seen the new film Rebirth. So there's more dinosaur to explore. Okay, bye.